How did Tuchel's 4-4-2 system work against Spurs last night? Is Saul really back right now? And why Ziyech looked back to his masterful best against Spurs last night? Today, you guys, I'm here to discuss the 3 things we learned in our 2-0 first leg of win against Tottenham in the Carabao Cup. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm thinking to experiment and bring a new series here, and you guys, I'm using some software to help me explain some of the tactical details in yesterday's game. I hope you guys enjoy, and without wasting any more time, I think we need to start things off and discuss Tuchel's 4-4-2 system. Now last night, I'm sure you guys saw a multitude of different formations used. We saw 4-4-2, 4-2-2-2, we even saw 3-4-2, 3-5-2, 4-3-3, it was literally formation crazy yesterday. However, one simple thing to understand is that in our 4-4-2 system, the main one that we used last night, this was an asymmetrical system. Now, one of the key advantages to using an asymmetrical formation is that it helps you to create overloads on the fields to, of course, target the weak areas against your opposition team. The 3 main things I'm going to focus on will be on our attacking system to actually beat Spurs. I'll discuss our build-up phase, and of course I'll discuss how we defended off the board as well. Now, our main tactic to beat Spurs yesterday was essentially to create those overloads down the left-hand sides to free up the space down the right-hand side for our creative maestro in the game in Ziyech to take full advantage of his creative abilities. As we can see in the position report, you guys, there's a reason why 44% of our build-up was down the left-hand sides. Now, to start with things, let's focus on our build-up phase, because the plan for the build-up phase was to create a numerical advantage to evade Spurs' first line of their press, which was obviously their 2 forwards in Harry Kane and Son. So essentially, we created a makeshift back 3. So what happened was that Alonso was the 3-man out wide on the left, SAUL, really good move more centrally, and Azpilicueta dropped in deeper as well to make that back 3. And with Alonso being that 3-man there, it forced Emerson, Spurs' wingback, to be in a situation where it's like, okay, do I engage with him? And from here on, you guys, the plan was to disrupt Spurs' back 5. And this is where Mason Mount does become key. As we can see, Emerson's now in a bit of a predicament right now. Of course, he has to now engage Marcos Alonso, or he then has to engage Mason Mount. And of course, for this example, Emerson engages Marcos Alonso, and essentially what that then does, you guys, is it creates this ocean of space on the left side of the channel right here, in which Mason Mount can take full advantage because he's very good tactically and he understands how and when to create those overloads. So going back to Mount, for example, if he dropped deeper, this could then allow Marcos Alonso to run in behind as well. And then on top of this, you guys, you have Kai Havertz, who can then take advantage of the space left and behind Emerson right here to further then take out and drag the attention of Tanganga, which we saw time and time again would allow either one of Mason Mount, Havertz, or Alonso to create these wide rotations down the left-hand side, in which we could then go and disrupt Spurs' defensive line. And of course, this is where things tactically fall even more in our favour. Naturally, the Spurs defence will have to occupy some of the spaces left and behind, and this is where Romelu Lukaku does become incredibly clear and important, because as we can see here, you guys, he commands the attention of both Davies and Sanchez. And naturally, because Spurs have to plug those holes in that defensive line over here, you guys, this then means that someone like Doherty now has to drop a bit deeper to help out Davies. And what does that do? What does this do, you guys? Well, as we can see right here, this gives you all the time and space for someone like Ziyech to take control of the game and, of course, create from these wide areas down the right-hand side. And as I said in the preview, the key to beating Spurs would be to literally destroy their wingbacks in the game. We took out Emerson, we took out Doherty, and this left the Spurs bit in complete disarray because there was too much space that they had to cover by themselves. And of course, when you have players like SAUL, who was on top defensive form, Jorginho able to have the time and space to find options as well, and Azpilicueta as well too, having the license and confidence now to push forward due to our numerical advantage in Spurs' half. You can see how our tactics worked to, of course, completely disrupt Spurs' entire defensive plan. We had so many varieties of options to destroy them, as you guys can see on screen here. Left-hand side overloads. Then we have Ziyech down the right. He has the license to cut inside, shoot, play in the fullback, play it short to the midfield players. Or most importantly, take crosses unmarked to, of course, find all our players inside the box. Now, that was the main focus of our tactics, you guys. Of course, in the defensive phase of the game, we did form a makeshift back five. Now Hakim Ziyech of course had to drop deeper to help form this one, as we can see with the examples on screen. Azpilicueta is calling for him to come back into position. For me, it wasn't too much of a crazy thing. We've seen many a time, let's say for example Mourinho, where he tasked his wingers with dropping deeper to help support the fullbacks. This is a standard thing in football, and for me, it's something obvious that Ziyech, a player of his ability, would be able to do. Ziyech dropping deeper and us making this back five basically meant that we could occupy their wing backs when Spurs were attacking, meaning that we weren't going to be susceptible to any wide overloads that Spurs may create. And whenever we were in that defensive transition, you guys, we had Lukaku as an outlet who was able to keep his position out wide on the right hand side for us to find him, for him to pin back those Spurs defenders, and for us to create very quick counter-attacks to bypass midfield. And essentially, you guys, they were the tactics. This is what we used to beat them. In the second half, when things got a bit more complicated, of course, Spurs had to react. So Conte takes off Doherty. Spurs switched for a 4-2-3-1 system to have Ndombele in behind to try and just have, more numerical advantage in midfield. However, we looked to match that. We matched that with our very own back four system too, and as the game was progressing, as we struggled at times to play out from the back, SAUL playing a lot of sideways passes in that game, we switched to a 4-3-3 with Mount dropping deeper, which then evolved into him coming off and guys like Ruben and Cover coming on to help us just dominate and control that midfield. And essentially, you guys, this is why we use so many different formations, and this is why we beat Spurs in yesterday's game. Now, one player that must be discussed today is Hakim Ziyech. I've been telling you guys for a very long time, we have not been using him in his best position and best way. And as we can see, you guys, Ziyech is a right winger. That is his area, that's his game, that's his zone. Let him be the free man out wide and watch this guy cook. Versus Tottenham, Ziyech ranked number 1 for shots with 3, chances created with 4, crosses with 6, dribbles with 4, and possessions won in the final third with 2. With the asymmetrical system which I explained in the previous point, I guess you can say in that sense that Ziyech was kind of playing as like a false wingback. However, it was the manner in which we created those wide overloads down the left hand side which freed up the space down the opposite flank for Ziyech to do his thing. As we've seen this season in particular, Ziyech's defensive game has definitely gone up levels. His ability to press from the front, unsurprising that he won 2 pressures in the opponent's half, his ability to track back too, and the 50-50s he engages in. You can rely upon a player like this who puts in that defensive responsibility. And when having that freedom down the right hand side, Ziyech had the license to cut inside and try to engage with some long shots, play it short to SAUL, play it to Azpilicueta as well too. And of course, take on his man, and most importantly, put in those dangerous crosses from the right half space in which Ziyech has that wonderful ability to play these amazing lofted through balls that have incredible dip on them. The guy has a magical left foot, and we saw some incredible passes played. That one in particular, the standout one, being that pass to Timo Werner with the outside of his left foot. For me, Ziyech's been played out of position for way too long. We've seen him play on the left hand side, we've seen him play as a false 9, we've seen him play as a cam with his back to goal. This is not the best way to use him. The fan base has been calling for a creator for how long now, yet we have these creators in the team already, and I think with the system we saw yesterday, it finally allows these attacking players to have the responsibility to really show why they're worth the price tag in which we signed these guys in the first place. I guess at my point, I was just envisioning, imagine if a fully fit Reece James was playing in that game yesterday alongside Ziyech. Can he even comprehend the levels of creativity we would then have down the right hand sides? I'm hoping yesterday is a glimpse in the future of what we can expect as the season does progress. And to end with the final point, of course, another standout player was none other than Saul Niguez, who put in an incredible Kante's performance against Spurs last night. Now, as Tuchel said after the game, he is more happy, he's more free in training, he played better versus Wolves and had a good impact and is stepping up and up. I felt he digested the experience at the beginning when he maybe did not expect the intensity of the league, but what he does is good because the player is open. He is fully focused and totally committed to the team. And considering the surprises we had with players picking up COVID late, that was N'Golo Kante, that was Thiago Silva, I guess Saul wasn't expected to start in the game yesterday, which makes his performance even more impressive because this was a player that understood that he now had a moment to take responsibility and shine to impress the manager, and I'm sure with the reaction that Tuchel gave Saul once he was subbed off near the end of the game, he was ecstatic, he was happy, and let's see if Saul can now build from this moment. Yesterday against Spurs, he won 6 out of 7 tackles, picking up the most duels in the game. He ranked first for interceptions with 3, he ranked first on passes received from his defense as well, and his passing accuracy in the final third was 100%. Yesterday, Saul just didn't win easy 50-50s, he was counter-pressing. He showed tackles where he won his 50-50s. And importantly, he showed 2 incredible, excellent slide tackles as well to of course bring back possession and kickstart attacks. And with his passing, he was moving that ball 1 touch, 2 touch. It's been the crispest and fastest I've seen Saul move the ball since he signed for us. And maybe this comes from now understanding the English game a bit more, understanding that referees will allow you to maybe get stuck in there a bit more now, understanding the tempo in which you have to play at, and maybe feeling more confident now with the system, the tactics, and his teammates too. I feel having more of like a defined role against Spurs, where for me, Saul isn't a guy to playmate from deep. You know, he is more box to box. He is a player that likes to get involved in the tackles as well too. And for me, playing as a ball-winning midfield player essentially seemed to be the best way to use Saul. Can he build from this? Time will tell, but recently he has been showing that maybe I might have been a bit too quick to judge him. But of course, you guys, I need to see a few more games first before I come here and make a video saying I'm wrong. So on that point, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. In the comments below, you guys, ask for one favor. If you want to see more of this style of video, if you like this type of series as well too, please let me know in the comments how you feel. Maybe any improvements that maybe you want to see. I'm open to suggestions, you guys. So on that note, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Line CV. Later tonight there is going to be a stream, so make sure you guys come through. I'll post the details later. Cool.